What is up, folks? I'm Mikey31 here, Madden 19. I'm going to go over cover 4. I'm going to go over the variations of cover 4 that are in Madden 19 because, well, it's what I do. I do this every year as far as, breaking down how the coverages work in the game. But I feel it's especially vital this year because I feel like we're at a point where if we're not careful, something will end up getting nerfed that doesn't need to be nerfed because the actual football concept is correct. But the problem is people aren't understanding because they've never been exposed to it and they've never seen it. So when they see it play out, they think it's wrong. When in actuality, the concept is correct. Now, there are some bugs in it, which I'll get into, but the overall concept of what is in the game when it comes to match quarters and cover 4 palms and cover 4 drop are there. It's correct. Now, your standard cover 4 drop is your, old school spot drop zone coverage. Cover 4 quarters is basically the cover 4 equivalent of cover 3 match, where you have man coverage rules within the zone coverage scheme depending on how routes break. I'm in, what am I in? I am in nickel, four down line nickel formation against 2 by 2 spread formation, and I'm in cover 4 quarters. You have your quarter flat, your 3 receiver hook here being played by Luke Kuechly, quarter flat, your quarters coverage zones in your secondary. Now, in a standard spot drop cover 4, the zone coverages, they drop to their boundaries, they drop to their landmarks, and, break on the ball. And people over the years in the Madden world, they know how to attack that. They know how to, set up their routes to exploit those soft areas because the zones are just spot dropping. They're not matching and they're not playing routes. They're just dropping to their landmarks. Now, in match quarters, you have man coverage rules within that, coverage scheme. The way to think about match coverages in general, it's really simple. If someone attacks you vertically, it's man to man. That's basically it. If someone attacks you vertically into the outside, you treat it as man to man. If they go underneath you, you pass them off and you follow your standard zone coverage rules. That's it in a basic nutshell. It's not that difficult. High school teams play this. But again, if you don't know, you don't know. So EA, in my opinion, does a poor job of explaining these kind of things. NBA 2K, they have amazing blogs every single year detailing what exactly is in the game, whether it's in franchise mode, AI, tactically. Czar does a wonderful job with that, but EA kind of leaves people to fend for themselves. Now, in match quarters, what's going to happen here? They're going to be running Smash. Here's me. I have the 3 receiver hooks. So my responsibility here is to match whoever is a third receiver in the pattern. I have him man to man if he goes vertical, which is going to be the back coming out of the backfield here. The quarter flats here, their job is to help to deny the slot receivers free release down the seam. Reason being is that once these slot receivers release vertical, these safeties here have a man to man. And the safety's worst nightmare is having a speedy, shifty slot receiver running at them full steam, unobstructed, and they're free to basically break any direction that they want. You know, think of, I don't know, think of, say, Brandon Cooks in the slot screaming down the seam, and you got a poor safety here he's not a corner. He's not a corner for a reason, and Cooks is free to break this way, break that way, or run right by him with a full head of steam. So it's imperative that these guys at least force them to reroute and form a little bracket here until they get 10 yards or so. The corners are going to play anyone releasing vertically down the sideline, obviously man to man. Redirection here. You see the bracket here now. Now, what you got to remember is defenders can only see what they see. These defenders, these two safeties here, they have no clue what direction these two receivers are going to break. He can either break and run a post, he can either keep going, or he can go down the sideline on a corner route. The quarter flats, once they have impeded the release of the slot, they're now free to work back to the flat area. So both of them are going to go play the hitch here. Now, what this also has the potential to create is, depending on, again, how the receivers are releasing, is brackets between the corner and the safety to double team who's running vertical. In this case, these two receivers here. Now, since this is smash, this receiver is breaking towards the corner. As you can see, he's double teamed. You know how I often say, if you tried to run smash in real life versus cover 3 or cover 4, the defense would laugh at you? This is what I mean, because smash is designed to be a cover 2 beater. In Madden, a zone beater is a zone beater is a zone beater. That's the way it's been. That's the way people are used to playing the game. That's gone. The game is evolving. So you have to learn how these coverage schemes work and how to break them down, which you can do. Now you see here, there is separation here because the Panther secondary is just god-awful. And you're able to get the pass in there, actually, but thankfully they're able to knock it out for an incompletion. Now the way you can attack this is, pretty simple. Again, the way you attack match coverage is to isolate guys in space and force them to show you that they're an athlete. Like, for example, you can cross these two receivers deep, or out of trips, run a guy down the seam and run a guy down a deep out and make someone make a decision. Stuff like that. Now, where the game is working out, that sometimes these safeties here will prematurely cheat on something that's a little bit in that gray area between pushing them vertical and not. Typically, 10 yards or more is considered a vertical threat. Sometimes they're cheating a little bit too soon on things that are in that 8 to 10 range, which is going to occasionally get them exposed to being bombed over. That's a flaw that needs to be fixed. I've pointed that out. I've let Clinton AW know that. I've sent them all kinds of stuff as far as that's concerned, and so have other people. But the fundamental rule is correct. Identify vertical threats, match vertical threats, and close airspace. And have an athletic linebacker here properly aligned that can match someone like a back coming out of the backfield. Don't be base aligning and having this guy all the way over here and a guy in the slot here and being mad that he can't get from here to here, and by the time the route develops, this guy's in a quandary. Can't do stuff like that. The rule is correct. There are some tweaks that need to be done to kind of clean up some logic, but the base foundation of the coverage rule is proper. Now, remember how I said earlier there's some logic that still need to clean up with it? This is an example of it. This is dime, cover 4 quarters against gun bunch. Trips bunch here. Solo receiver here. Same coverage just out of dime this time. We look at the trip side first. I'm on the 3 receiver hook, so I'm looking to See how this guy releases? You count 3, 2, 1. He's no longer the number 3 receiver. The guy coming in is now number 3. Vertical release. The quarter flat has to respect his release before working down to the flat. If he goes vertical past the quarter flat, safety has a man-to-man. Quarter zone here. You'll see here that he will work back to him. I match him. It's a new number 3. Solo side receiver here is going to be running a post route. We're good up until here. Now, quarters rules, if you have a solo receiver to your side and no threat vertical, you bracket, which he starts to do, but he goes too far to the outside. All he has to do, the corner properly follows him because he can't assume that the safety is going to be there because the safety might be, occupied somewhere else. Again, it's, man coverage within the zone coverage concept. But his job here and now, since he's unoccupied, is to bracket number 1. But he skates out. That's what needs to be corrected. Cover 4 palms. Why would you play cover 4 palms? A couple of reasons. One is that it's a little bit more effective against the quick game, especially against concepts where you have receivers rubbing off of each other. Spot concepts, like say this receiver goes to the flat and this receiver rubs off of him. Rather than put your defenders in a position where they're fighting over picks or are caught 2-on-1, they will quote unquote palm them off. The safety will take the first guy breaking in, the corner will take the first guy breaking out. This also allows your safeties to convert to robber. So let's say this guy runs a quick slant. Your safety will jump it. Why? Because he's the first guy coming in. Quick slant, watch how fast he breaks. First man in, first man out. Only one guy here, so only one guy can go in or out. Quick slant, boom. Same thing here. And, the quarter flats are the same. But look how aggressively he closes on the quick. All right, this is palms again. Again, solo receiver here. Trips here. This time the receiver releases outside, so now he jumps to look inside. He's looking for the first guy coming inside. Nothing changes here. And we now have a 2-on-1 bracket against number 3. Nothing changes for him. Again, it sounds like a lot to remember, but it's basically the easiest way to think about it is, match coverage. If you're threatened vertical into the outside, it's man to man. If your assignment goes underneath you, you play zone. Palms is the same thing. If everyone releases vertically, it just goes into cover 4 quarters. That's it. Palms versus quick slant again. Watch how aggressively they play inside. They're looking for a first guy in. He jumps on this slant here. I'm on this slant here because I have to open up on this side as a 3 receiver hook. It's a 2x2 set, so I open to the wide side. Same thing here. Closes hard on the slant. Good example of palms here. Again, corner has first man out in palms. There's only one, there's a tight end here and a back here. The back is going, through the line. So the tight end is first man out. What happens? He converts to a trap flat. And quarter flat matches in. Safety. We now have a 3-man bracket here. And the quarter flat. Again, the quarter flat knows this safety here is looking first man inside. The first man inside of him is number 3. So the quarter flat now knows he has man-to-man all of number 2. Notre Dame got a ton of INTs off of this coverage last year. He no longer is a quarter defender. He is now a trap flat or a soft squat. Again, palm, first man out, first man in.
In this first half.
And there's a previous play, so you know I'm not BSing you. And that's basically it. That's how cover 4 quarters and cover 4 palms works. Again, we saw the bug that has to be fixed, but the rules are there and they cannot be patched away. Patch the bugs. Do not patch away fundamental football concepts. We have to get away from this thinking. And it's okay for the game to be hard, and it's okay for you not to understand something. If you've never been shown it, if you've never been taught it, that's understandable. But it's in the game, and it needs to stay in the game. And we need to understand it, and as we understand it better, what we see will make more sense. And, it sounds like a lot, but, trust me, high school players play this. Saban says all the time, heck, I have guys on my team that can barely read and write. They can understand it. You just have to get used to, seeing it. You have to just, understand what the basic concept is. And, from there, it's all about personnel and user. So, anyhow, that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you all later. Peace.